As leaders, this question right here is an important question. I hear a lot of people ask me, a lot of people talk about how do I take my teams, how do I take the teams that I'm working with and inspire them and move them to do something great? I think you're going to be surprised because teams inherently are dysfunctional. Teams inherently are not very strong. As a matter of fact, Richard Hackman has written a book called Leading Teams. And in that book, at the beginning of that book, he asks this question. Take a look. It says, when people work together to build a house, will the job probably get done faster, take longer to finish, or not be completed at all? I know what most of us would think. Oh, it's a team. They've got resources. Obviously, they're going to finish it quicker. But that's not what research tells us. That's not how teams function. Think back to like your middle school or high school days. Do you remember when they gave you a team project? 3 or 4 of your classmates had to finish something and have it done in a month. Inevitably, many of us carried a majority of the load. Why? Because teams aren't inherently set up for success. Let me tell you why. Most teams underperform even with the resources that they have. And let me highlight the reasons for that. Number 1 is a lack of clarity. Number 2 is motivation. Number 3 is competition. And number 4 is human dynamics, which we all get. And what these do is they actually chip away, they erode at the real ability for a team to be successful. Now, 3 of them are really the responsibility of the teammate. But if the first one isn't done well, the other 3 really don't matter. And that is the lack of clarity. Lack of clarity is a leader responsibility. It's me leading my team and being very clear about what I expect, the timeline that I expect, and the product that I'm asking people to deliver. Because remember, your teammates and people that are on teams will inherently think about the competition, the way that things come across, and the uniqueness and the human dynamic of just simply working together. Maggie Jackson has written a book called Uncertain: The Wisdom and the Wonder of Being Unsure. And take a look at what she says in her book. She says strategic decisions are 4 times more likely to succeed if managers fully investigate the roots of a problem and multiple possible solutions. Yet research shows that they seriously consider only one option 80% of the time. Here's what this quote tells me. As leaders, it's our responsibility to get to the root of the issue. So if you want to lead your team well, if you want to inspire them to do something that most teams can't do on their own, you've got to be very clear about what you ask them. You got to get to the root of the issue and be clear about what you're asking. Breathing new life into a broken team starts with identifying the reasons for underperformance. Let me explain what this means. It assumes that you already have teams working in your organization. You may have a finance team, an outreach team, a program team. Let's just agree, most organizations have different teams working. So you start with an understanding of a team exists. Now, as a leader, I've got to find out why they're underperforming. I would suggest that your business or organization doesn't just need a little shift in direction. Most teams actually need to experience a level of rejuvenation, a level of energy that's given to them. The most vital and enduring form of new life is the existence of a goal. Ask yourself these 2 questions. What is the end goal? And what do you expect from this team? Because those questions are leadership questions. Those are the questions that we have to own as leaders so a team can function to its best ability. Remember what I said earlier. Teams do not naturally and inherently step into a situation and just lead well. They don't function well without clarity around what you're asking of them, what the end goal is, what the timeline is, and what you really are asking of them to accomplish. Workforces without goals are short-lived and much more likely to fail. So let me ask you, why would you put your team in a situation where they don't have clarity and you know that that lack of clarity actually increases their ability to fail as opposed to succeed? So in addition to bringing clarity to your teams, here are 9 steps that I might suggest that'll bring new life to your teams. Number 1 is celebrate their work. Listen, you've got employees, you've got volunteers, you've got people who are really invested in the work that they're doing. Celebrate that work. Highlight it, thank them, take an opportunity to walk around and make sure that they know that you as the leader are seeing what they're doing and you appreciate their effort. The second one is my favorite: eat together and play together. Grab lunch together sometimes, bring lunch in, do something fun. I remember being with a team once, they had really struggled through a season, and we actually brought a comedian in and we did a dessert night, and people loved it. It was a break from the monotony of all the projects that we were trying to get done. This third one is really a responsibility of the leader, and that is to be a resource to help those that report to us, those that are on teams, to actually get better, to improve their skill, to look at their situation and say, I've got a suggestion. Here's a class that you can take. Here's an article that you can read that will allow you to scale your career. One of the things that I tell emerging leaders is when they're interviewing in organizations, ask them how they're going to invest back to you as an emerging leader. So you can do this. You can be a resource for how people would learn and get better in their craft. Okay, now this fourth one I know is going to be crazy, but I've actually been in situations where organizations have brought, yes, puppies in for 2 hours. You would be amazed. There's not one person I've met who doesn't like puppies. Well, maybe the cat lover, but you get the idea, right? Bring puppies in, like really more than that, just have fun. Do something interesting. In some of the organizations that I've led, we do something each month. From as random as playing bingo together, to doing meals, to sharing opportunities to just really do life together. These are meaningful for your employees. They also bring new life to them as well. Number 5 is to cultivate open pathways to improve communication. Communication is the lifeblood of your organization. It's like the circulatory system. It impacts every aspect. And I promise you this, people on teams are wondering what you think about their work. So be communicative. Take advantage of those opportunities and make those pathways improved. And number 6 is actually to fight for rejuvenation. As a leader, you have to understand that teams you put together are not going to be inherently successful without clarity and a vision for what you want them to accomplish. And as a leader, you also have to fight for the rejuvenation of those teams. You have to believe that you can invest into those teams and actually make their work better. Number 7 is very simple. Make your meetings shorter. I know everybody's cheering for that. But we think that there's this idea that if our meetings go 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours long, somehow I'm doing something wrong. I promise you, shorter meetings equal rejuvenation. Shorter meetings make your team actually work better together. A suggestion that I might have is every once in a while, just do a standing meeting. Don't let people sit down because it communicates to them in a nonverbal way. Listen, what we're sharing is important. I need you to be involved, but we're not going to be here all day. Number 8 is to encourage open collaboration and communication within your team. I promise you that if you have an open door policy when it comes to people on a team who may have a better idea, a suggestion, a way to do something different, and your body language and your posture is, please come and tell me because I want what's best for our team, you and your teams will be much more successful. And if you have an open door policy and nobody's coming through that door, you might have to ask yourself, is the posture and the way that I'm communicating that, does it actually matter to people? Like, do they actually believe me? If they want to come and give me an idea, will I actually listen to it and consider it? And number 9 is my absolute favorite. Foster innovation. Listen, stop doing your team meetings the same way. Stop introducing them the same way. Stop having the same agenda with the same quote at the bottom of your agenda. Do something different. Be innovative. Think about a way in which you could take your team and do something different. Stir their ideas, stir their emotions differently. Meet in a different part of the building. Meet outside, have coffee, bring puppies. Just do something that's innovative that actually stirs a different way in which these teams are working together. Here's how I want to just close this. Teams are incredibly important within businesses, churches, and nonprofits, but they are inherently dysfunctional. They start out with a period of dysfunction, and as a leader, if we're not offering clarity and clear goals to what we want them to accomplish, we're not putting them in the best position to succeed. These are some great ideas. I'm sure you have more. I'd love for you to comment on some of the ways in which you lead your teams really well.